Welcome back to Open Studio. What's up, everyone? All right, as promised, picking up right where we left off. So for you guys, it's been a week. For me, it's been 3.5 seconds, which is good. So where we left off was the front of this. So I'm going to kind of do the same thing. There's basically a gradation from the front of the car, which is pretty blue. It is a pretty blue, to the back of the car, which has kind of a less of that sky reflection. So we're going to do all this. Now what's neat about this is because I painted that original red color, so I'm going to cut out the shadow of the side view mirror. What's going on there? Is that blue too? I painted all that. Okay. And by doing that, by leaving that little cutout right there, it's going to actually give me the shadow without having to paint it in. So it's lovely. Oh, actually, am I doing this in two spots? Yeah, I am. Okay, so let's do this. We'll cut out this entirely. We'll get that out completely. And then the front was going to fold. So we come down on this little detail here on the front, and then come back up on the wheel well. Same deal here. The vertical part of that edge of that wheel well right up against the darker area is bright red. So we'll leave that. And I want to remove that. Oh, the horizon line's on there too. Okay. Oh, yeah, let's get this out. Yeah. This is, again, this is a fade from the front of the car to the back, which normally would indicate, like I'd cut out a hinge, but it's going to be okay for this. Just easier to get it all out. I could do the wheels, inside of the wheels. Those are gray, but this is a little bit too blue for that. So I'm going to pass on that. So I've got that. So that'll give me pretty much the side of the car. What I'm also going to do, here, let me switch back to the reference photo for a second. So you see that cutout where the Shelby is on the side of the door. And there's that bright, the blue on the top above that cutout. But then down below where the flare starts, I'm going to add a little bit of blue to that to kind of help pop out that insert in the side, that body panel area. All right, so that's right down here. And what that'll do is that's going to accentuate this flare on the side, which is good because, again, one of the cool things about the Shelbys are getting that wider package. Now, the trick is I don't want this to fall out. So we'll just kind of do a little bit of microsurgery there. All right, that's good. Any of the other blue, it's a little bit down here. This is awesome. This isn't actually blue. This is more a reflection of the ground underneath, but I can use blue for it because there's so much red going on. All right, I'll leave that. And also the rocker panel underneath too has a reflection on it, a little bit of reflection. So I'll do that as well, but I'll use, no, I can't do that. Okay. What I was thinking was I was going to put that on there, but there's this here is darker first and then has that reflection on it. So I don't want to put the blue in and have to paint the darker reflection because it'll just wipe it out. Excuse me. And then finally, as this rolls around the back, on this bumper area, there's a lighter blue reflection. I have to add a little bit to that too because the tree gets in the way, but I'll do that. And how about the tail? It seems like the back end of this really needs a lot. No, it actually doesn't. But above the lights does. This Shelby area does, so we'll put some in here too. Like that. I think that's everything for this. Yeah, there's this, basically the side of the car, anything that's pretty much vertical doesn't have any of that blue on it. It's anything that's really like, got the light coming down on it. Oh, there we go. All right. I just had a heart attack. I thought the microphone was off from the last episode, you know, when I turned the mic off. I thought the mic was still off, and we definitely don't want to ever do that again. All right. Heart attacks in the morning. Gotta love it. All right, let's get this lined up. That's the tail. So we want to be above that. The front of this should be right there. I may have to put my fat head in the way. Sorry. Make sure this is really lined up. All right, my head's going in the way. I'm sorry. I've got the camera in a good spot, but again, there is no perfect spot for it because it's always in the way somewhere. All right, that's good. Okay, so this isn't basing in. It is sort of, you know, it's larger areas and that kind of stuff, but this isn't just hosed down and it's done. This is a lot of, you know, just kind of letting it fade where it should and that kind of thing. So for instance, the wheel well in the back, there's really just a light fade of that white. Same thing in the front, but the front is like right here, and that's it, right? Same thing with the front of the car. So the front of the car, it's got a good amount of blue in the front, but then it fades pretty smoothly to the back. So we're going to do that. Same thing with this. I'm going to do the same kind of thing with the little detail at the bottom inset. This guy here actually's got some guts to it, so we'll kind of just spray that in. And then the back is also pretty straight ahead. It's mostly blue. Okay, ideally what we can do, what would be nice, is if I can pull this off without, oh no, I'm not done yet. I do this part, so we'll fold that back. How's that look? Actually looks pretty good. So this little guy here actually has where this edge is here. I can point with this because it's so small. So this edge here is going to be brighter than, and it's going to fade back this way. So what I got to do is when I fold this back, I got to be able to block this part off here. Now that cutout is gone. It fell into Narnia, so I don't have it. But it's pretty much a straight line. So I'll just use another copy to block it off. But so the trick is I want to make the edge I'm painting right now lighter, but I don't want to lighten up the part I already put on there. It'll add a separation to it. So line that up, drop a magnet on it. We should be good to go. Does that line up? Yeah, it does line up. Okay. Let's not start by screwing it up. This magnet's too much for this too. That's where it should be. Yeah, okay. Okay. Should be good. Let's check it out. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. All right, so the big unveiling, so to speak. So this template is pretty easy to reline up. If I pull this and it's not, I need to add more to it, it's okay. I can see it. So there we go. So immediately, see how it starts to really like kind of move things around and get things start to look in the way they should. So there's one more thing I want to do. So I've got all this blue on the top edge of this, but it really needs, now again, remember the shadow, the tree shadow was across the back of this. So the tree shadow blocked this blue that is on the top side of the car. So that really should be in the back here too. But again, the shadow of the tree is there, so it's not there in the photograph. So I'm going to have to kind of just put it in separately, which is no problem. We just grab another template. But really, I'm out of the gate. I'm really happy with that. I know the hood seems really like crazy right now. It's totally blue, but again, most of the hood is like this, like the windows and the deck. There's gonna be a lot of red details that I'm gonna put in with the paintbrush, so we'll make all that make sense. So the hard part about this, and again, every painting goes through it. It's like that ugly stage. this is the blocking in stage is the ugly stage. You know, it's like, you know, it looks like, I don't know, how is that going to come together? And once you kind of follow your system, it helps you kind of pull through the ugly stage, which is nice. All right, so that back, yeah, that's all in shadow. That's why it didn't pop up for me. So there are two things that are going on here. There's the back, the upper part of the side here, which we'll get that in. Just go right to the door. Where? Yeah, it goes right here. Okay, which I've already got some of that in. Good. And then the other thing too is the tail right here in the back corner. That's going to be blue too. Again, that's in the shadow of the tree, so it doesn't show anything, but we're going to pull it out now, and that'll help it make more sense. So again, you know, this again and again and again, it goes back to, you know, when people say, why don't you just take a picture of it? It's like, well, you could, but then, you know, I'd be a photographer. So it's like, this is the fun part for me, to like make just a random photo that I took, you know, with bogus shadows and weird reflections and all that stuff. It's fun to then take this into like a painting situation and make it the thing I want it to look like, and make it look like it was the original photo. That's the goal for me. I want it to look real. I don't want it to look like it was, well, essentially photoshopped, which we don't want. All right. So this, I still got blue in the brush, obviously. So we'll line this up with the tail. That's easy, an easy lineup, because I can see the blocked in part of the tail light. So we just got to make sure we get the front lined up so it's at the right angle. Oh, you know what I could do? I could pull this up too. Wait, is this coming out? I thought, yeah, this is coming out. I don't even need this. Okay, that makes it a whole lot easier. I thought this was going to be folded up, but it's not. So that makes it a whole lot easier to line this up. So that definitely goes there. And this back here, oh, that's way too low. Yeah, because there's a wheel well. Okay. A little bit more. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Okay. So what happens here is it fades from there back to here, but then it's got, you know, this, the tail light has a lot more blue on it. So there's a division there, but that's, we'll nail that. So we'll do the light blue across the whole thing first, like that. And then I'll do just the same thing I did with the other one. I'll just use a paper cutout as a stencil. Like that. Oh, that's close to the handle of the blade. Good. That's probably a little bit off, but I can adjust that with red. Yeah, so that sets up the whole back of the car. That's nice. I like that. Now, at this point, too, this is really important. So you guys are right on this thing, but even now, just with the highlights and the base and everything, that really starts to show. You know, you can tell what that is. And that's one of the key points of the razor blade paintings from the beginning, that it has to read like what it is from far away. So someone even from, you know, like 2 feet away will be able to tell this is a car. And that's what I want. I want people to say, you know, oh, there's a car on that blade. So then I get closer and closer until, you know, all the details and all that fun stuff. That looks good. I'm happy with that. What is next? I could do the black. Yeah, it's a toss-up. So at this point now, let me jump back to the reference photo. So at this point of the blade, there are a number of things I can do, and I'll probably, again, try to keep it the way I normally do things, although that can switch around depending on the image that needs to be done. So the next thing I would normally do, or what I would normally do, is finish the color. So the color of the car would be pretty much done. Meaning all the other darker reflections, the small highlights, things like that. And then I would move on to the wheels and the separate parts. But with this, it's pretty continuous across the whole thing. For instance, in the back of the car, even though that taillight insert is black, it reads blue because of all the light. So that really kind of connects it with the whole back end of the car. So I don't really want to leave that to last and then do it and have it look different. So I'm going to have to kind of do everything together. For instance, there's that racing stripe that goes down the whole center of the car. You can barely even see it because it turns blue with the rest of it. So that's a good example of why it's all, how it's all tied together. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of base everything and then just push all the details at the same time. That'll let me kind of keep everything cohesive. So I think the next step then is to get the wheels in, or the wheels based in. The wheels are pretty straight ahead. They're that matte gray, dark gray, which is actually really makes it easier for me. But I'm going to do it the same way that I did the car. So basically, I'm going to pick the middle tone, which if you look in the front wheel well, it's it's that just that medium gray in between the dark on the top inside and then the highlight as it comes down. So I'm going to mix up a medium gray and just base in all the gray. What I could do with this gray too is I can also mix in anything that's black as well in the car, which is nice, like a little bit in the interior and that kind of stuff. Yeah. All right. But before that, let's jump back. Before that, I'm going to cut another template for all this stuff. So it's going to be okay. Move this out again, because we don't need that. And if you remember from last week, I started recording Open Studios at 4:30 in the morning, so now it's 5. So there's plenty of coffee going right now. I usually don't like to paint this early, as I knock the camera, for things like that. Dexterity-wise, it can be sometimes an issue when, when it takes a little bit of time to get warmed up, and you are I'm the least dexterous, I guess, in the mornings. So doing stuff super early, I try to avoid, just like doing stuff super late. Like I try not to paint when I'm really, really tired. Sometimes, you have to do what you got to do, and you have to, but I really try to avoid that because fine motor skills are the first thing to suffer when you're tired. So, all right, so we're going to cut out the entire wheel well, everything, including, I said I'm going to fix this tire. I'm going to do that now. That out. Yeah, that's good. Okay, and the front wheel, what's going on there? It's a mud flap. That's interesting. Didn't know it even had that. This is a little bit too wide. It wasn't really a good cut, but oh well. We shall fix it. That was a perfect example of what I was just talking about. Like, just me kind of flopping around. There we go. What else do I need? Black. Do I want to do the interior? Sure, why not? Yeah, this is going to be the gray. This will work out well. So the interior is going to be fun. We'll get more into it as we get there, but there's, the airbrush allows you to do this really cool, like layered thing. So that's the dashboard of the car inside the, inside. But once I spray that and then I go back in over it with blue, it's going to look like that window is glass and transparent. It's a really neat trick, and it's something that the airbrush does very well. We'll get to that though. All right, the other gray parts, I'm going to black out the license plate for now. I don't know what I'm going to do with the plate, so we're just going to take it out for now. I can always paint one in after. May just end up leaving it out though. So that's the back panel for the plate. The exhaust, what's going on there? Good, excellent. There's this whole area down here is black. Such a pretty car. They did a really good job on this, the new Mustangs. I love them. Well, I love these Mustangs, not Shelby, just Mustangs in general. Here we go with the soapbox. I have no idea why they named that electric SUV a Mustang. That makes me sad. I probably mentioned it before, and I'll mention it again. I don't understand why Ford just didn't name it something cool. You know, another horse. I don't know, whatever it is. Not Pinto, because Pinto. But no, I don't know, some other, I don't know, Ford Stallion or Ford something. But it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't make sense why they called it a Mustang. It's so un-Mustang. I mean, I know why they did it. You know, obviously it's brand recognition. So you got people who want an electric SUV but want to be cool. So we'll call it a Mustang. And, you know, people who need 4 doors and carry soccer gear can drive a Mustang. But I don't know. It would have been, that's, for me, that's the thing. It would have been totally cool if it was, its own thing, this own cool thing. And they could have, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I take that back. It is definitely me. All right. So there's the black bits of the car. That's good. There's some other small ones, obviously, like the stripe, the vinyl stripe on the side. But I'm gonna leave that. I'll do that as a separate detail. What I was looking at is the back window of the car, but there's a building reflection in it that I'm going to take out. So that I was thinking of cutting that, but it's not needed. This shadow under here is red, so that's good. I think I've got everything. Yeah. Well, maybe. Yeah. This is a micro cut. So this is the side mirror here. That's also gray, but it's super tiny. It should be done with a paintbrush, but what could go wrong? All right, there we go. So that's my gray. All done. Move that out. Mix up gray, and same thing. I'm going to use the Micron for this because it's just, I could use the, Micron C. I could use the B for this too, because I can mix the gray up kind of thin, but the C just really works well for this. Okay, line that up. So what I'm going to do to line this up, because remember I messed up on the red originally, it was too high. So this white panel on the back is not the correct shape because I had to do that adjustment. The same thing with the exhaust down below. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by lining up the front, get the front in where it should be, using the wheel and the window, and then that'll help me line up the back. So I know I'm going to see a lot of red in the back, but that's okay. Like I said, it's basically the repair that's going to happen with this. Yeah, that's better. There's the red. Drop that down a little bit. That's lovely. Yeah, there we go. All right, we're good. Drop a magnet there. Maybe drop a magnet here. Yeah, so all that red right there, that is what it is. So this gray, remember we're going to go for a kind of a lighter gray and then adjust it, but what I'm going to, shut up and paint. I'll just show you. All right, can I use this blue? Is that lazy? Yes, it is lazy. Okay. It's lazy because the gray has kind of a warmish cast to it, like a darker brown cast. So by using the blue, that's going to eliminate that, and then that's just lazy, and we don't want to be lazy. However, while I'm cleaning this out, if I was trying to save time on this, say I had an instance where I needed to get this painting done in 5 hours instead of 10, that right there would be something that I could do. I could cut corners there and it would save time, but wouldn't really affect the painting like catastrophically if, you know, that all that gray had a blue shift instead of the, you know, the warmer shift that it has. So something to keep in mind too, you know. It's all about what and how and when you need to get it done, and what corners you can cut to still give you a good piece of art, but not you know, spend a bajillion hours on it. All right, so again, start with white. This is mixed 1-to-1, 1 part white to 1 part 4011 reducer. So put some of that in there. And then we need kind of a medium gray. So we're going to use, this is mixed 1 part paint to 10 parts reducer. This is black, 1 to 10. I know it's hard to read, but there's a lot of reducer in this, so this is pretty thin. So this will help me kind of control the darkness of this. If I put like, you know, like 1-to-1 in here, it's gonna turn like really dark really fast. And this, like I said, this just lets me kind of control what I'm doing here. I think it needs to be darker than that. Yeah, so like 1 drop of 1-to-1 black would turn that really dark gray right away, because the black is super strong. That looks good. I like that. Okay. Great. So same deal here. Remember I put the white in first and then I mixed the black in, so I know there's white in the front of this. So I'll do the same trick. Just kind of gently block off the end of the airbrush. And when you do this really slow, because if not, you'll be wearing the paint. The air will blast out the paint. You see those white bubbles that are coming up? That's the white paint. So again, I'm pushing the trigger down and then just gently pulling it back to get those bubbles to start appearing. And you'll get a feel for it. You know, you'll be able to pull it back far enough that it mixes really quickly. But again, if I pull that all the way back, all the air that's coming out of the front of that brush is going to come out the cup and you're going to be wearing it. Ask me how I know. All right. We're good. Give me my little hold down tool. I'm worried about that. Before I do this, I want to make sure, see how right here you can see that blue? You see that the blue that I put in, that blue fade? All of that is visible. And I don't know that that's correct. I think it is because the front is right, but I'd much rather double check or triple check than run into the problem of yeah, that's right. I don't know, maybe that blue fade that I put on there was in the wrong spot, because this little reflection down here, this little blue reflection, I don't know if you'd see it right there, that's in the right spot. It lines up with that little blue reflection right there. So I guess I'm gonna lose that and then I'll have to repaint it, but that's okay. Again, I'd rather be safe than have to fix everything later. Yeah. All right, so there's a lot going on in this. There's, you know, red overspray and white, and there's the blue that I was just talking about. So this is the same deal. I got to cover all that. So I'm just going to go over it lightly, put a coat on, and then move on to another spot and let that dry. And that's how I'm going to get it done. If I try to hose it down and get it to 100% right away, it's just going to make a mess. It's going to not dry. It's going to run underneath. It's just going to, like I said, it's just going to make a general mess. So patience, patience. Wheel well, or wheel, tire, everything. This front wheel is right on the handle of the blade. It's got the seam in it, so that's always going to end up being messy. Anything that kind of crosses that will always have underspray and needs to be cleaned up, always. It's just the way it is, which is fine. Okay, the interior, which I'll paint gray. There we go. And now I've got everything in, so I'll just go over it again. Again, this white and black does a really good job of covering anyway, so it doesn't take a million passes, but still, I want to be slow about it. I want to get it done right. Being slow and patient is what keeps it really clean without adhesive. I don't think there's ever been an instance on a razor blade painting where I've used an adhesive mask anywhere, which is great. That's good. That's all it takes. See what we got. No matter how many of these I do, I always hold my breath when I do this, because then when I pull it off, if it's not in the right spot, it means a lot of extra work. That's really good. That's really good. Yeah, that taillight was in the right spot. What do you know? All right, good. Save that one. This is coming together. So you notice, like down in here where there's that huge gap, like the white and all that, that's easy. Those are easy fixes. This is actually a gap that I missed originally, which is fine. But remember the parking bumper was right here, and I cut out that wrong, so I'll fix that after too. You know what time is it? That's it. We're done. It's 31 minutes. So, all right. So it's a good spot to leave it at, and we'll just jump in next week and pick it up from there. But this thing is coming together fast. Like I said, razor blade paintings only take about 10 hours to do. So so we'll get this done pretty quick. This one may even be faster, who knows, but we'll get there. All right, so if you enjoyed it, you know what to do. Please hit that like and subscribe, do all the things, be cool like these people who have joined Patreon and membership is fun, especially for the live feeds. So that's what I got. All right, so for Steve Leahy and Open Studio, you guys are unbelievable, and I will catch you next time. Thanks a lot.